Well, I'm delighted to be joined pitch side for this one by Eddie, Darren and Jamie. So folks, kicking off with last night, Jamie, Munster got it done. They made it 2 big wins to finish, and they delivered under pressure.
They did. It was an absolutely huge game for Munster. They delivered in front of a sellout crowd, giving the guys, a great. You didn't want that to be their last game in terms of the guys finishing up, and fair play to them. Behind the half time, kind of regrouped, came out being more physical, more intense, and delivered. And now they've got a potentially hard road to the final, but Munster knockout, as we always know, you just never know the journey that they go on. But it's great that they're in that and they've qualified for Europe next year. Yeah,
so great for them on so many levels, Darren. I suppose it was unthinkable for them not to be in the Champions Cup financially in so many other ways.
And it's been a really tough season for them, losing coaches during the year. These things aren't easy at all, and I think they are at a stage now where they can, sort of put that to bed. There's no harm done. They're back in Europe. They're in the playoffs. And ultimately, when you look at that league table there, Leinster, if they progress, have home advantage the whole way through. So if Leinster aren't going to win this competition, someone's probably going to have to come to Dublin and win. And when you look at those teams in the top 8, if any team was going to rock up on a given occasion, I just don't think they've been reliable enough across the season. They've lost 9 games this year in the URC. It's so un-Munster. So I'd be surprised to see them do it, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really has been a tough season for them, Eddie, hasn't it? They've had to put up with a lot of upheaval behind the scenes.
Yeah, they've had, and they've been kind of in a holding pattern with the coaching and stuff. That's kind of put to bed now, which makes a difference. I think the big thing for Munster was that to get into Europe next year, that's probably the biggest thing. They're in the playoffs now, so whatever happens in the playoffs, they're going to look to next year with a new coach coming in. That sets a whole new agenda. Everyone's looking forward to a change, and that's a very positive thing. And again, though, typical Munster, backs to the wall, 2 games, must win, they get it done. They have a tendency to pull those results out when they need them. But in a kind of a way, that's where they are in the playoffs now. You just don't know, as the lad said, who would want to play Munster now in the playoffs, because you just know what you're going to get. But Darren's right, they have been inconsistent, but it's understandable given the whole backdrop around the club. But I think they're in a much better place now. They're in Europe next year, it's the big thing, and they're in the playoffs, and let's see where they end up. That's the way to see it from their end, I'd say.
Yeah, what about Connacht then, Jamie? They finished up with a win this afternoon, but certainly a reset needed out west and some coaching staff.
Yeah, I started out there was a lot. It's kind of anticlimactic, the end for Connacht, because at the start of the season there was so much excitement around this squad and this team, and the way the season has gone for them. They're a great joy to watch, but incredibly frustrating to watch. They can score a lot of tries, but they can ship a lot of points, and you can't do that in this league if you want to be at the top. And also with a lot of kind of unknowns in terms of coaches and stuff like that adds to it. They're playing in effectively a building site as well, so it can't be great for the players right now. I know that stadium will be amazing when it delivers and the fans will love it. So it hasn't been a great season for them, for the players, for the fans, and somewhat anticlimactic end to it.
And I feel like on Connacht, for the first time ever, I feel Connacht are massively underachieving. Yeah. I always saw Connacht as the province that weren't as well funded. Their academy wasn't as good, their facilities weren't as good, they didn't have as many fans, and they were serial overachievers. And flip, they managed to win a league in 2015. That is not the case anymore. This is commercially getting the naming rights of the stadium. You look through their squad, they've a good team on paper. Yeah. They've signed really well overseas players. The facilities are going to get better. Connacht are in a really good place, and they have massively underachieved this year. So from that point of view, dreadful season. Looking forward, I think there's loads of reasons with a new coaching ticket for Connacht fans to be excited. Yeah,
they've obviously lost Pete Wilkins, Scott Fardy on his way out, Mark Sexton. A former Ulster man, Jared Payne, is being mentioned possibly to come in there.
Yeah, and it's no surprise to me at all. I'm amazed at how many vacancies there's been in Irish rugby at all teams. I wouldn't know. I would have dropped that if that had come anywhere near me.
Hit the table there.
So that would be. I think that'd be a great bit of business. He's quite young to come in at a head coach role, but you have to do it. He could do attack, he could do offence, and I, as an Ulster fan, would be very jealous to see that, and I think that would be a terrific appointment for them.
Yeah, I suppose it's just been so frustrating, isn't it? They're so wonderful to watch in attack, but the defence just isn't up to it.
Yeah, they've always entertained Connacht. You go watch the game, it's always a good game to watch, but they do shoot themselves in the foot quite frequently. I think this season again, you've got to think of the whole coaching malaise that went on, and suddenly losing your head coach. He was out for a while, then suddenly stepped away. what led up to all that had to be very disruptive within the group. So we get the headline at the end of it that the coach is, stepping down or he's leaving. What got to that was probably what unravelled their season as the season went on. There wasn't a stability around the team that a head coach brings. So there was something not fitting right there for them, and it didn't work out, and Pete Wilkins has left. But that has its own price to pay for the season. So it's been a disappointing season for Connacht. I think Darren is right. They haven't really delivered on what we hoped. But again, I suppose they'll look at a new start next year. New coach has to come in, new stadium. Everyone's starting looking forward to next year can be better, and I think it's a positive. But it's a bad season for Connacht. The win today puts a bit of a gloss on what was a poor season, more than Ulster.
What about Ulster then, Darren? First time ever in Challenge Cup. Next season they slumped to a final defeat last night.
Yeah, it's 25 minutes to kick off. I feel like I might go the whole way here. It's hard to know where to start. On the pitch, they've conceded too many tries. Their defence has been dreadful. I think what's underpinned that has been their lack of respect for possession. Last night they turned the ball over 23 times. Rugby's about winning tiny moments, creating pressure. If you're just going, there's the ball. I think they averaged it around 15 times. My big concern as somebody who loves Ulster is just, have we hit rock bottom yet? And I'm concerned.
Have you?
I don't know. And I think, we talk about Connacht, the naming rights of the stadium, the new facilities, and I just think Ulster from 12 years ago, getting that stadium with the naming rights, the players they've had to be in this state of affairs now it's an absolute disgrace, really, and I'm very, very concerned. I'm just not sure why it's going to be better next year. The coaching ticket's okay, the signings, it feels like they're going to have less players, but they've got a lot of work to do next season, and it starts around respect and possession.